Well, hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this new episode of Inspiring Our World. My name is Julie Tara. I'm your host for this wonderful podcast, which I so enjoy doing. And today I'm really thrilled to be bringing a fabulous friend and cohort, a Nikken cohort, Ruth Loh, onto the podcast with me. Hi, Ruth. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy you're here, and thanks for taking time out of your crazy schedule. And I know you do have a crazy schedule. For everyone to know, you are a platinum consultant with Nikken, and I know you've been involved for about 23 years, correct?
Yes. Time flies when you're having fun.
Truly, truly. And one of the things that's so amazing about you, and I don't know, maybe there are other Nikken consultants that have this background, but you have a background of being a CPA for a long time, I think around 19, 20 years. So
yes. And if you'd asked me back 23 years ago, would I be involved in something like this? I would have been like, no way. I'm definitely a diehard accountant. So very interesting to be able to switch that over. Been very fulfilling.
It's wonderful. And one of the things I love is that you bring not only a fantastic heart to the business, and you're a very supportive person, so that humanizer energy, but also the analytic. You have a fabulous, because of your background, I think, such a great eye for the analytical side of Nikken. And you know, there are some people that really, really want that and need that. And so we love you for bringing that piece in.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so our subject today mainly is we're going to start with active wellness on the go. You know, how do we work with our technologies on the go? And I know you're brilliant with this. And then we're going to arc into some other areas of how to thrive and the win-win of our Nikken career as an entrepreneur. So let's start with active wellness. I know recently you were in Japan. Congratulations, you won the contest. So let's talk about that. How was that?
So the trip was absolutely amazing. My husband had never been before. I had gone once before, courtesy of Nikken, but I really wanted to do this trip to open his eyes and show him where the roots of Nikken came from. And so the trip was absolutely amazing. But when I think about active wellness on the go, I'm thinking about even just traveling to Japan, right? So on the airplane, I had my seat cushion that I take with me everywhere, my necklace, my insoles, my back flags, all my technologies with me. But I also take nutritionals before I get on the plane. I always take Immunity, Lactoferrin, and J Green before I get on the plane. And then every 3 hours, it was a 12-hour or 11-hour flight. Every few hours, I took one of each, one J Green, one Lactoferrin, one Immunity. The nice thing about that is our nutritional gives us our body energy to support ourselves, even when you're going through an intercontinental flight, right? Over the ocean, changing time zones. Jet lag was very minimal. Coming back, there was no jet lag at all. It's because we had our technologies. Now, I do, and people that travel with me know, I bring my whole sleep system, my pillow, my comforter, and my fit. I bring my shower head, and I bring my pliers so that I can unscrew the shower head at the hotel and put mine on. So I do travel with everything. And for me, that's really important because I always tell my husband, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy, right? I have to sleep well, be energized, have good food, have good hydration so that I could be at my A game, especially when I'm playing. I want to make sure that I'm feeling great. And I do that with all of our technologies. So active wellness on the go is really important to me.
So it's kind of amazing to me that you bring pretty much your whole Nikken Wellness. I'm not your air purifier, but I'm thinking, do you have a special suit? I'm trying to think logistically, like a special suitcase for all your Nikken technologies, and then you have an extra suitcase for your clothes.
I do, yes. But this is the other thing. I'm always worried that in case the luggage gets lost, I do split up my Nikken stuff just in case. And sometimes I have my hand carry that has my pillow and comforter in it, because I can squish that. So I don't want to be without any of my technology. So I divvy it up into my suitcases so that in case anything goes wrong. And our trip was the first 4 nights, we were at 4 different hotels. So we packed and unpacked, and it was incredible, the trip. You know, going on the bullet train, going to the different cities, doing the shrine. I mean, just amazing things that we did. But that first 4 nights, packing and unpacking, I thought to myself, thank goodness I have my Nikken technologies, because it's a lot, a lot to pack and unpack and travel to another city, 3 nights in a row. It was a lot of work. And then we were able to stay in Tokyo and then be there for a few nights. And that was wonderful, and experience the culture. And I just know that, thank goodness, I had my eye mask and had my nutritionals, because no matter what, you're still in a different country, still a different environment, and your body needs to adjust. But when you have things like our technologies to keep our bodies in balance, it handles those kind of changes really well. And I'm just really grateful, because we all probably could have been pretty worn out and exhausted, but we were tired, but it wasn't to the point where we were still able to enjoy ourselves. And I feel like, that's a wonderful thing. I saw younger people struggling, and we don't struggle when we travel.
Well, it's absolutely huge. I mean, I've traveled a lot with Nikken all over the world, and I've always been amazed at how quickly I could move into a new time zone and recover, and just, be right with in step, shall we say, with the new culture. And I was similar to you, took a lot of products with me. I'm going to ask you, you mentioned the comforter. Are you taking the cozy? Are you taking the small travel comforter? Or are you taking a full comforter?
So I normally take a queen size light comforter, because I just roll it up. So it's very compact. But because I knew in Japan, sometimes you don't get one big bed. Sometimes you get twins.
Yes.
And 2 of the hotels, we had 2 separate beds. And so I didn't want to bring a queen. So what I did was I did bring 2 twins. So
2 twins. So no travel comforter for this trip. You took full on.
Oh, well, that's not true. So I bet the light blue travel comforter, it's a little bit smaller than the twin. I had one of those, and I had a twin.
Okay, got it. Okay, because I'm so visual. I'm such a visual learner. I want to know, you mentioned the mask and the nutritionals, and of course the seat, the Kenko seat. I'm sitting on mine right now. I have one in the car. I mean, that for me, the Kenko seat is just the bomb. It's fantastic. And then I always have my MagFlex and belt, like you said. Always have that in my hand luggage. Now, of course, the sports bottle as well. I mean, that goes without saying. We don't go anywhere right without our sports bottle everywhere we go. Have you ever had trouble going through, the check-in and stuff like that? No.
Never. The only time, almost always, when in my carry-on bag, I have my shower head and my pliers. And the regulation for TSA is that you need to have your pliers have to be less than 7 inches, and mine are 6.5. Okay. And they'll stop me and say, "What is in here?" And I say, "Well, it's my wrench, my pliers for my shower head." And I said, "But it's fine, you can measure it." And they do. Underneath their computer, they have a ruler thing, and they measure it. It's under 7 inches. And I'm like, "Okay, go ahead." And then they let me go. So
fabulous.
That's the only time that they stop me.
And this one, I mean, and I know everybody loves you, Ruth, and Nikken, and I know people know very well that you take the shower head. And for me, I'm like, well, I've never taken the shower head. I love my shower head, not to say I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, quality of my hair, quality of my skin, everything is fantastic. But you really go that other level, when you take your shower head. Why do you do that? And especially to Japan, where I would imagine they would have, micro bubbles and all of that.
So I felt it didn't matter. It's still an industrial city, right? Tokyo is still, so there's still pollution, and water doesn't come from the mountain. It's still a big city. So I just felt I'm not going to take a shower. Your skin's your largest organ. It's going to absorb within seconds. I just didn't want bad stuff into my body if I could help it. And the shower head is so light. I bring the handheld, and it's very, and in Japan, they have those nice big deep tubs. So I was able to even take a bath, and that was really nice, because it's not like you go to a hotel here and have these shallow tubs. So it was really nice to be able to take a bath a few nights. So
you filled up your bath water with your handheld shower. I love it. I think this is so fantastic also for children, for infants, bathe in the best water you can. And we all know what a difference that it makes. I mean, it's really considerable. So it's just like hats off to you for thinking about all these different aspects and bringing everything with you, and you don't find it too much of a hassle. It's just part of your regime, right?
Right. And so when I first started with Nikken, and it used to be like a real topper, and so I did have a particular 31-inch suitcase that carried my whole sleep system.
Yes.
And my husband would moan and groan, but he realized if I didn't have it, I would not be as happy. And just like I said, when mama's happy, everybody's happy, right? So he realized quite quickly, if I didn't travel with the technologies, I wouldn't be as nice.
Your best self. Your best
My
self.
best self.
Yeah.
So from very early on, when I started Nikken, I took everything with me. And now I teach, customers, and I teach team members. I have a team member that's leaving in a few days, and I was like, you have your seat cushion. And she's actually driving, so she's actually going to bring her waterfall with her.
Lovely.
And so she's taking all her back flex, right? I wanted to just quickly share with the eye mask. When I travel, especially long distance, of course I have one on my eyes, but I also bring 2 others because I put it on each shoulder. Because sometimes flying just tightens my whole upper body. Yes. And when I put an eye mask on each side, it's like loosey-goosey, and I feel great by the time I get off the plane.
What a great tip.
Little things like that.
I love this tip. I love this because, flying, especially long distances, is very stressful. And of course, everyone in today's world is far, far more cognizant of the fact we have to really take care of our own health, that we have to do the work to really take care of us. And I think that's also a sign of great self-esteem. I was just thinking about that with you. It's like you have a high level of self-esteem. It says, I am worth it. I am worth being my best self. I am worth being the happiest I can be. And I do think wellness, happiness is a big part of it. Because when we're in harmony with nature, we're happy. When we're in harmony with nature, it's so simple, isn't it? It's such a simple concept, but so profound a concept.
It's so true. And I always share with people, self-care is work, but self-care is self-love. I am worthy of taking care of myself, and everybody is, right? So when you take these steps to take care of yourself, put your body in balance, put yourself in a good environment, then you can thrive. Then you can really be like, woo, this is awesome, right? Yes. And it brings joy to your heart when you're doing things for you.
Yes, it's like, exercising daily or whatever, all the things that we do. And what I love in Nikken so much is that we really help support people and empower people to do these things, because we know they're going to feel stronger, happier, healthier. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's also a lot less expensive to take care of your health.
That's
right. A lot.
Yes. So sometimes people say, do I need to invest in this money? I said, well, there's 2 ways to go. It costs money to be healthy. Absolutely. But it also costs money to be sick. But when you're sick, it costs you money, plus you don't feel good. So you have a choice. Do you want to spend the money and feel good, or do you want to spend the money and feel bad? It's really, that was an easy decision.
Love that. Ruth, that is fantastic. That is a great way to explain to someone, because you're right. And also, of course, when you're sick, you don't feel well, you also miss work. There's a lot of ramifications. You maybe can't take care of your kids the same way. There's so much. You don't feel like cooking, therefore you're not eating the best food, perhaps. There's such a spiral, I'm going to say, like a spiral downward effect, right?
Yeah. Being sick is not fun.
And
being sick costs your money and costs you your joy. And that to me is priceless. Being healthy puts you in joy, puts you in a vibration that's a whole different level. Why wouldn't I want to invest in my health and take care of me? Besides the fact that I'm worth it, but
absolutely. Now that you say that, I'm thinking, I've been with Nikken 28 years, and I have virtually not been sick hardly a day in 28 years. I had a couple of challenges. I had one challenge with migraines, which I didn't quite understand what was happening, and found out that I had a food allergy that was creating a histamine response. It took me ages to figure it out. And I'm so glad I did, because now it's never an issue, because I know to avoid those certain things that would kick up that histamine response. But other than that, I don't think my children can ever remember me being in bed sick.
See? And you mentioned children. So my daughter's 24. I got involved when she was a year old. And from the day I got involved with Nikken until today, she has never taken any type of anything. I know that other parents will give their children certain things for, runny nose or cough, whatever. She's just never had anything, has never been sick. She's an athlete, has never injured her body. And I really believe it's because she uses all of the Nikken technology. She lives and thrives in a wellness home environment that supports her body.
Yes.
I mean, and now my grandbaby is on all the technology. So now it's going to the next generation, which is also incredible,
Fabulous.
right? So yeah.
I absolutely love that. I agree. I think, bringing up my children, I mean, they never ever had antibiotics. They didn't even know what an antibiotic
I
was.
know.
Never once, and hardly ever missed school. And,
Yeah.
if they were feeling a little under the weather, I would just pop them in the sleep system and just
Yes.
rest, and,
Give him Jay
stroke them.
Green.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? And then we can
It
pass
is.
this on. It's so beautiful. So let's talk a little about how this kind of parlays into you're one of the consultants that is amazing about naturally bringing in customers, and then of course developing your team. Like what does it look like for you? The intention to thrive, the win-win of our Nikken business structure. Let's go there.
So I definitely think Nikken is a win-win solution for many people. And when it comes to customers, a lot of them don't even know that these technologies can support them the way that it can. And so when you share and educate, it really is about education, right? It's not about forcing anybody to buy anything. It's really allowing the person to understand what their body can do and how it can thrive by using these technologies. And then doing and using the technology and then feeling the results, which is always great, right? Because they feel so good. And building that relationship. Once you've built that trust, I think I have customers that have been with me for 23 years that are still on auto ship from day one, right? And I didn't have to twist their arm to do that. They did it because they feel better and they understand the value of our nutritionals and our technologies. They've been customers all these years and they're still going.
That's just fantastic to hear, because of course to build a strong business, you want to have many people on auto ship. We've been on auto ship for 28 years, every month, never miss a day, never miss a day, morning, noon, and night. So how do you meet them? How do you meet these customers?
So for me, prior to COVID, it was very different, right? It was very much one-on-one. And since COVID started, I actually do everything on Zoom. And so I joined groups that were virtual, go into the meetings, and you're always going to meet somebody that said something that like, oh, that is interesting. I would like to get to know them better. And then I would reach out. So I do my business pretty much one-on-one. I think, yes, it may take a little bit more time, but it's definitely more relationship building, and it's more valuable to me because I'm looking for friends, right? Somebody that I think the same thing about certain things. Will I be attracted to somebody that's opposite than what I believe in? Probably not, right? So being in these groups and then attracting people that are like-minded like me, and then it's really easy to build it. And I do a lot of moms. That's just my thing. I'm
a lot of
mentor.
what? Sorry?
I do a lot of moms. Mothers.
Yes. I didn't catch your word. Yes.
So I am a mentor mom in 2 women's groups, moms groups. And I've been doing that for probably 12 to 15 years, something like that. But moms have a special heart, right? So I do resonate with a lot of moms and talk about how we care about our children's health, our parents' health, our siblings' health, our spouses' health. It's really multifaceted, right? It's everybody in our lives that these technologies can help support. And once we get into that level and we build that trust in that relationship, for me, it's very easy to get them to understand and then become a customer. And then from there, most of my customers that self-identify that they want to now do this as a business and share with others because they want to serve others, it just is an organic development. It's not something that I have to twist their arm and say, you should really join or whatever. It's not like that at all. So
love this. I love this. Yes, it's an evolving relationship with you. I personally love one-on-ones and absolutely built my business through one-on-ones for sure. Mm-hmm. Now I want to touch back a little on the groups. So the groups, the moms groups, the mentoring moms groups, where do you find these groups? Are these groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn?
So I'm not very social media savvy, and I pretty much use Facebook. Yes. And I'm in a lot of groups, but I've really, during COVID, I've narrowed it down to 3 or 4 groups, like a holistic mama group in San Diego, or all moms natural. There's just different groups. And then I go into the groups and look to see if I can comment on people that I agree with, to say, oh yeah, I agree with this, or people looking for solutions, and I may offer a solution. And then once we build that on the chat, then you can do offline and say, hey, I reach out on Facebook Messenger. I love what you said about drinking good water. What do you know about that? I would love to hear your take on that. So I'm not there pushing our technologies, but I want to know where they're at and what do they really understand about being healthy naturally. So that's how I start the conversation through Facebook Messenger.
That's beautiful.
It's really wonderful. I mean, I love doing it from the heart.
Yes, absolutely. You're building this trust, and people do love to give their own knowledge. So you're asking them, what do you know about this and that, and then of course at some point they're going to say, well, what do you know about water, healthy water?
And I'm really excited when I'm asking people questions that intrigue me, because I really do authentically, sincerely want to know.
Yes.
And I end up learning a lot of things. So it's definitely a two-way street. It's not just one way. It's definitely a two-way give and take, and it's been fabulous. So that's worked really well for me the past few years. And so I do everything on Zoom.
So, and again, we're going to this win-win idea, and that sounds absolutely like a win-win. In fact, I love this idea so much. So what would you say the percentage of customers you have, and I know you have many, all over North America, I think, from what I seem to remember. And what percentage become consultants, would you say, roughly?
It's probably pretty low. Maybe 1 out of 8. Because they have to want to share. And that also builds up organically, because once they've helped their daughter or something, they'll be like, my mom has this. Could you help your mom? Absolutely, we can help your mom. So it builds organically, and then after a while, they're like, oh, my neighbor wanted something too. And then when the neighbor starts ordering, I said, look, we do have a business and you are obviously doing it, but it's up to you. I did it when I was an at-home mom, still at home. So something to think about. So yes, it happens organically because they are now sharing with others. So it's not like, oh my goodness, I'm in a business, I got to do this. It's not like that at all. It absolutely develops organically. And that, when I look at my key players today from 23 years ago, my key players were all built that way. They were all organically did it for them and their families because they love them so much. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I have a neighbor, and then I have somebody at my fitness class hurt their back or whatever. I still have people that had been on my team, and she's no longer a consultant, but she still calls me. I went kickboxing. I met this woman. Call her up. She needs a back. And so it just keeps happening because they know the value of our technologies.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is where we're so blessed in the network marketing industry, that our technologies are so extraordinary that people genuinely feel compelled to share. It's like when you find something so beautiful and effective and powerful and safe and non-invasive, all the things that really work, you can't, to keep it to yourself just feels horrible. It's like you want to share, and so this desire to share comes naturally. And especially I think with women in Nikken, I've heard so many stories of people saying, yeah, and then suddenly the company was sending me checks, and I was like, why are you sending me checks? And because they're building the business really organically because they're genuinely sharing the products. And this is something I know that our Dennis Williams always said, is that when you find something that works, that's safe and non-invasive, non-chemical and highly effective, you naturally kind of want to share it from the rooftops, is what you said. And that's when you have a business builder that is really, they're just going to become unstoppable. And I mean, you and I go back a long way. We used to work together, in Chicago, when I used to come to Chicago and I'd do presentations for you and for the others there. And and I remember, by the way, vividly, when you won the Mercedes. You won a Mercedes, Ruth. And I was like, you go, girl, you go. Yeah. So you've been as passionate as I for many, many years about these technologies and this business. And so how does the CPA part of you kind of play in? How do you use that part?
So for me, the CPA part comes along when a new incentive comes up or a comp plan change. I want to go back and calculate to make sure that all this makes sense. So it's a personal thing. It gives me a comfort level. And every time I've checked, everything is really great and Nikken has figured it all out. But just because I was a CPA, that I always want to check those things.
Yes.
I just want to know that if somebody says to me, well, this is what I've done in the month of May and how much would I make? I want to know that I can go back and calculate to the penny what it is. Now, does everybody else want to do that? Probably not, but that's just something that I like to do. So that has helped me tremendously. Plus it has helped me even when I, share the technologies. Somebody will say, oh, a waterfall. I'm like, really? That's $1.35 a day. Aren't you worth it? So I put a lot of math into my stuff because that's the way my brain thinks.
Yes.
And sometimes when people are like, really, it's $1.35 a day, it kind of seems silly that I'm even discussing it, that I should just get it.
Well, that's great right there. Just that number, it's fantastic that you can come up with that. And it is helpful to let people know, what they can receive. And I would be the worst at that, because I'll tell you, you and me, we're opposite in that regard. I'm not very good with math. My math teacher was like, I think you should give up math. I'm like, I think you're right. But it's wonderful. And that's what I love, is to glean those moments from you of like, because you've already figured it out, so that the rest of us don't have to, because we're all good at some things and we're all not good at some things. That's okay, because as a team together, we fill in all the gaps, right?
And I will have to add that in Nikken, it is very different than many other companies. We really all work cross-line as a team. We have a platinum group that we always reach out. Somebody doesn't know something, we put it in the chat and there's always a response. We are very blessed to have the environment that we have in Nikken. That is unusual with this type of industry. And so when I think about that, I'm just like, wow, what a blessing to be part of this Nikken. We are truly a family. And the other thing is, having Luis Kasuga at the head, I would tell you, he was at a Humans Being More with us this past April. And my niece was there, and she goes up to him and says, well, I know you're the boss of everybody, but can I take a picture? And he said, no, they are the boss of me. I'm here to support and serve them. And she was like, she couldn't believe that he'd said that. I mean, she knew that he was the CEO and the president, right?
That's
and she was
lovely.
Afraid to go ask for a picture with him. And he was like, set her straight. I'm like, wow, that would
Beautiful.
never happen to me in corporate America. Never.
I think we're so blessed to have Luis Kasuga as our president.
Oh my, I got goosebumps just thinking about him.
Yeah, he's a very, very special man, and he really understands servant leadership.
He does. And that's where we can all learn from him, right? There's so much to learn from him. He's amazing.
Absolutely. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, I think to succeed in Nikken and really take it to the world, which is, our job, and take it out there, is servant leadership is really where it's at. That's the key thing. And then loving working in teams. And I know you love working in teams like I do. It's a joy.
It is a joy. And I have to tell you, accounting never did that for me.
Yes, I suppose accounting, I mean, you're there with a computer and numbers, and you're not really on a team, are you? On a team?
We're on a team, but I was in audit, and a client never wanted us to be there, right? Because we're auditing their books. So it was not a good vibration. So doing this is so much more satisfying. It's so much in alignment with how I want to live my life. And I'm grateful that I had the accounting experience. It taught me many things. Yes, but having that experience and then coming to this, it's like night and day. However, this is so heartwarming for me, right? How we're doing, being with my Nikken family, even this trip to Japan that we had gone on. There's there was 250 of us, but we felt like family, right? We felt that if anybody needed anything, we were there to help. And that's what's important.
I love this. So what I'm thinking here is that we're really talking, with our technologies, we talk about the wellness home, wellness office, wellness car. We talk about our environment and creating a wellness environment. And what I feel here is that we're talking about a wellness environment with each other in business. A real community of like-minded, which you started our conversation talking about like-minded people and like-hearted people.
Yes, like-hearted.
Yeah.
And that's not typical in the business world.
No.
That's what makes us so special.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's so genuine and with integrity on how we build this business. you just don't get that anyplace else. From my business experience, I had not seen any of that. So to be in Nikken and to do it for 23 years and you for 28, something must be working. Why would we still be here?
Yeah.
And we're still smiling and happy.
I know, because we love it. We love it.
Yes.
And we're not sick in bed. And we
No.
Oh, this is so great, Ruth. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered here?
I just think that, it is really important to understand that we have this opportunity with Nikken, that we can come from gratitude. I think about that all the time. How grateful I am that I'm healthy. I'm healthier today than what I was 23 years ago, including my husband. He plays full court basketball. He runs every day. He couldn't do that 23 years ago. It's insane. And to have our children raised up being healthy, and now my grandbaby, I'm just so grateful for Nikken. And that's what makes my heart really burst with love because of that. So I just want people to really understand that we are very fortunate and very blessed to be part of Nikken. And we have to be grateful for that.
That's so beautiful, Ruth. Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more. I have gratitude every single day for the blessing of Nikken coming into my life. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And gosh, just thank you for this time together. And I hope all of you really enjoyed this time. Listen again and again to the wisdom that Ruth brings for us here. And also don't forget to follow this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. We also put it on the Nikken International YouTube channel so that you have it there visually, so you can translate to other languages if you need to. And you can comment there. But the key of these is to listen, of course, yourself, share with your teams, and share with new people that don't know anything about Nikken. These podcasts are designed for you to be able to share joyfully with others. And let's be grateful for this very beautiful day, for our amazing Nikken technologies, our incredible business, our wonderful community filled with beautiful people like you, Ruth. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.